conduct, the less preparation. Tonight, friends, we gather here from our brokenness and our shattering, we arrive. In darkness with a yearning for the light. Over time, we begin to feel that others have also arrived with the same internal darkness. Through our connection, we gradually develop a desire to serve our friends' needs, to soothe their weariness and to quench their thirst, to draw strength from above for their benefit. Yet our yearning increases as the darkness appears to persist. We now lift a prayer to the upper force for the light of bestow to be awakened in each and every heart, to heal the sickness of our time. It is with this yearning that we enter the lesson. Today, let's now raise a prayer for connection in the lesson as we drink in the words of our sages in order to draw closer to teaching with the life of life's Parker. Please. The Torah is given specifically to one who is deficient, and this deficient is called darkness. This is the meaning of what is written. The Torah was given out of the darkness, that is one who feels darkness in his life because he has no vessels of bestow is fit to receive the Torah, so that through the Torah the light in it will reform him, and then he will obtain the vessels of bestow. Through them he will be fit to receive the delight and pleasure, for those two are included in the Torah. One that he wants to bestow, he receives the delight and pleasure into the vessels of bestow. Again, the Torah is given specifically to one who is deficient, and that deficiency is called darkness. This is the meaning of the words. The Torah was given out of the darkness, that is one who feels darkness in his life because he has no vessels of bestow is fit to receive the Torah. So through the Torah the light in it will reform him, and then he will obtain the vessels of bestow. To them he will be fit to receive the delight and pleasure, for those two are included in the Torah. One there see that he wants to bestow, then he receives the delight and pleasure into the vessels of a silent workshop. Let's unite our deficiencies into a common prayer. To draw the light of the Torah in a lesson. Again, let's unite our deficiencies into a common prayer in order to draw the light of Torah in the lesson. For you must always stand guard all day and all night. When you feel a state of day or feel a state of night, we say to the Creator, yours is the day and yours is also the night. Thus the night to the darkness of night comes from the Creator to men's favor. True as it is written, day to day utter speech, and night to night expresses knowledge. It follows that you must awaken the heart of the friends until the flame rises by itself. As our sages said about it, when you mount the candles, by that you'll be rewarded with awakening the love of the Creator upon us. You must always stand guard all day and all night. When you feel a day or feel state of night, we say to the Creator, yours is the day and yours is also the night. That's the night to the darkness of night comes from the Creator to men's favor. True as it is written, day to day utters speech, and night to it expresses knowledge. It follows that you must awaken the heart of the friends until the flame rises by itself. As our Es just said about it, when you mount the candles, by that you will be rewarded with awakening the love of the Creator upon us. Enter a workshop, an active workshop. How can we awaken the hearts of the friends until the flame rises by itself? How can we awaken the hearts of the friends until the flame rises by itself? We receive an awakening from the friends through the examples that we see in them. How can we do it? There's a certain commitment of each and every friend toward the 10 on the other hand. A friend himself cannot maintain this commitment unless the 10 holds him. Together, we now read from Rabash that the Creator helps those who want to acquire vessels of bestow but don't succeed. So we will try to worry about the friends, give them happiness if that when they're not able to, and will be able to also receive the power to give the friends. Recently, we've been going through very important scrutinies that are related to the path to our life. So, by trying to scrutinize these important things, how to carry them out, what are we missing that helps say lot? We need to look at the friends as representatives of the Creator, and our gathering is a great opportunity. We should look at the Friends, that they are a part of me, that we have a common fate, and that we want to raise to elevate each other very high, because by this we get closer to a certain extent to the Creator and to the purpose of Creator, and this is something worth living for, so exalted, so important to everyone. You simply warm yourself, and it's light, the light that surrounds everyone here in the study hall, and you want to be part of it. You feel the importance, the belonging, feel the Creator that dwells here. Holiness, it emanates from every friend. You want to be incorporate in it, and you want to add to it, to be together in it with the friends. Yes, the flame is built out of sparks, and we need to collect these sparks, and then you stop thinking about yourself, and as Rabash writes, you simply dissolve in the friends, and only the friends exist. We assemble the sparks by growing the love between us, strengthening the connection between us, and we work on it all the time, because it says don't believe in yourself until the day you die. Next source. Exert. One who truly wants to serve the Creator must include himself with all created beings, and he needs to connect himself with all the souls and include himself with them, and they with him. That is, you should live for yourself only what is needed for connecting. That this requires closeness and many people, for the more people serve their Creator, the more the light of the sh appears to them. So this reason one must include himself with all the people and with all created beings, and raise everything to their root, to the correction of the one who truly wants to serve the Creator must include himself with all created beings. He should connect himself with all the souls and include himself with them, and they with him. That is, you should live for yourself only what is needed for connecting. That this requires closeness and many people, for the more people serve their Creator, the more the light of the appears to them. For this reason one must include himself with all people and with all created beings, and raise everything to their root, to the correction of the silent workshop. Let's connect in one intention to bring contentment to the Creator during the lesson. Again, let's connect in one intention to bring contentment to the Creator during the lesson. Shalom. Hello. We reading in the writings of the article The Love of the Creator and the Love of Men, continuing with the heading, and to adhere to him. You can find the study materials in our website and the Galaxy system. You can also send us questions live through these websites. The writings of Bam, the article The Love of God and the Love of Men, heading, and to adhere to him. There still remains room to ask if the whole purpose of the Torah and all of creation is but to raise the base humanity until they become worthy of that wonderful sublimity, and to adhere unto him. He should have created us with that sublimity to begin with, instead of troubling us with the labor of creation and the Torah. We could explain this with the words of our sages: one who eats that which is not his is afraid to look at his face. This means that anyone who feeds and nourishes on the labor of others, he's afraid, ashamed to look at his own form, for his form is inhuman, because no deficiency comes from his wholeness. He has prepared for us this work, so we may enjoy the labor of our own hands. This is why he created creation in its base form, the work, and he and lifts us from the best of creation, and through this work we achieve our sublimity by ourselves, when we do not feel the delight and pleasure that comes to us from his generous hand as a gift, but as the owners of that pleasure. However, we must still understand the source of the baseness that we feel upon receiving a gift. Nature scientists know that the nature of every branch is close to its root. The branch loves all the conduct in the root, wants them, sets them, and darers benefit from them. Conversely, the branch stays away from everything that is not in the root. It cannot tolerate them and is harmed by them, because our root is the Creator, who does not receive, but rather bestow. Hence we feel sorrow and degradation upon any reception from another. Now we understand the purpose of adhering to him. The sublimity of this adian is only the equivalence of the branch with its root. On the other hand, the whole matter of the bes is only the remoteness from the root in other. Words each being whose ways are corrected to bestow upon others rises and becomes more capable of adhering to him, every being whose way is reception and self-love, degraded and removed far from the Creator a remedy and have been prepared for us in the beginning. We are to observe it not for her sake meaning to receive reward. This applies during the period of smallness or childhood as education. When one grows, one is taught to observe, to run for her sake meaning to bring contentment to one's maker and not for self-love. Now we can understand the words of our sages who asked, why should the Creator mind whether one slaughters at the throat or slaughters at the back of where neck? After all commandments were given only in order to cleanse people through them, we still do not know what is cleansing means. The foresaid we understand that man is born a wild as SC, completely immersed in the fire and baseness of self reception and self love, without any spark of love for one's fellow men and bestowed to one's fellow men. In that state one is at the farthest point from the root. When one grows and is educated in tea and defined only by the aim to bring contentment to one's maker and not at all for self love, one comes to the degree of bestow upon one's fellow men through the natural remedy in the study of tea, and that the giver of the Torah knows, as our sages said, I've created the evil inclination, I've created for it the Torah as a spice. By this the created being develops in the degrees of the above said sublimity until one loses any form of self-love and self-reception. Every attribute is to bestow or to receive in order to bestow. Our sages said about this, the mitzvah were given only in order to cleanse people by them, and then one adheres to one's root to the extent of the words and to adhere unto him. Good morning, he says that through the Torah and we attain our own sublimity. What does it mean to attain our sublimity? We can be exactly like the Creator on the same level. He also says that we attain our sublimity by our own effort, mean our own effort, something that belongs to us. We ourselves need to develop ourselves, reach equivalence with the Creator. He also says that during reception we feel sorrow and degradation created in us from the beginning. Such an attitude where we feel sorrow and loneliness in reception, and the opposite in giving, where in attend and a friend receives from another friend, he should feel in that sorrow and degradation. It's recommended that all the activities, all the actions we do in the whoever it's in it, giving or receiving, well, feel internally what is the essence of the action. And if I still don't feel this sorrow I receive from a friend now, and I don't feel sorrow in the fact that I received something, you have to pay attention what you're doing that in giving to the other. You resemble the Creator who is the source of all the abundance, and then receiving from the other you feel yourself lowly and despicable. Maybe I can give an example. The Unity Day now is approaching and all the friends in the tea talk about it, and I feel that they're ready for it, they're going towards it, and suddenly an unpleasant feeling awakens if I'm not together with them. Do that also come from the same root? Yes, thank you. I need to feel despicable when a friend bestows to me, gives me. If a person places before himself the goal of reaching, bestow or giving, sorry, anytime he must receive, it's considered a descent from the degree for him. But along with it we have a goal to reach connection. So when a friend bestows, when he does something for me, seemingly, and it's opportunity for us to connect. So yes, but connection is a mutual act. I to my beloved to me as we. So I'm not thinking of reception, I'm thinking of giving, and each one who is thinking of giving, they give to one another and to one another, and in this way they connect. The connection is based on the giving. Feeling of degradation is upon the act of reception of the intention to receive. In truth, the intention, because it speaks of the quality of the action, it's possible that you're receiving something from someone, but it's not reception, but the Other way around, it's actually giving. That's how he says it to keep it simple. Said that a person should check the essence of his action. You meant the intention, right? Yes, typically we're talking about an action coupled with the intention. Let's continue. Hold on now. I didn't understand. What does it mean to cleanse or refine people with? To cleanse means to purify. Refine, I'm responsible to refine people. You have to help them with your attitude toward them, to refine them themselves and know through all possible actions. Are we talking about, my friends? Are all people? What does it mean that it's through the mitzvah, through the commandments? This is how they're being refined. It's the same thing, it's the same intention. That's intention. If I carry out the mitzvah, the commandments, by that I helped to cleanse them, to refine them. Hear that the Creator doesn't mind if one slaughters from the throat or from the back of the neck. The most important is to cleanse or refine people. So why was such a guidance given that you have to slaughter from the neck, not from the throat, not from the back of the neck? If the Creator doesn't mind, I don't know, but if it says that you have to slaughter from the neck, from the throat, I'm sorry, then that's how you need to do. Why it's possible that we don't know all the rules or the anatomy or what's going on there with all the creatures, but if she have to slaughter, then you slaughter according to the laws of slaughtering. So what does it mean that the Creator doesn't mind, doesn't care? That relative to the person is as far as it concerns him. There's no difference. So here he's actually telling us that we should only engage in love of others and refining people. Other things, simply do them without understanding too much. We shouldn't care. Yes, any yes can no more. Yeah. Okay, not clear why. If in reception we feel loneliness, he writes that the remedy for it is to run with be. Yes, we feel already loneliness, degradation in reception. We want to get out of this state already. So what is the remedy? In receiving something from a person feels himself lower than the other, and he has to compensate for it in order to uplift himself, and that's how we need to see in life. On the other hand, we live in a form of reception. We don't feel the gradation tells us that we're in state of baseness. If we don't feel this baseness, we can't approach the remedy. If we don't feel some baseness, we must feel our baseness, our liness in this life, because we need to receive from the other a certain fulfillment. So where's the gap between the natural form, where the branch resembles its root, and we feel bass in reception, versus the way we live, where is this camp? We simply don't pay attention to how we live. We constantly receive and give, and we don't pay attention to the quality of our actions. So what can help us to reach this awareness of evil? That's what says that we need before the action, need to equip ourselves with intention, and only with the intention you should do the action. So we say there is a remedy to your illness, but you don't feel the illness, but a person to begin with doesn't check if he has some illness. Said so now he should know. Can you explain what is this act of cleansing or refinement? What does it do to the will to receive? To a person, act of refinement means that I refine myself by diminishing, or right, getting rid of the form of the will to receive. Refinement means to cancel, to annul the will to receive. Yes, but we learned that we never cancel the will to receive, we only rise above it. What does it mean to cancel the will to receive when we don't use it? That means to cancel it. Okay, so the act of refinement is not at the will to receive that I have will disappear, but I simply don't use it. Yes. What will this do? What will happen to this desire if we don't implement it? We don't use it. What will happen to it? What will happen is that unless I annul it, it remains even gross. If I pay attention how not to use it, then through such actions I diminish it until I feel that it disappears from me. This act of refinement, this act of diminishing the will to receive, as you described that. Now, seemingly I'll start elsewhere in the world of reception. We know that when I receive into the will to receive, there's some pleasure there, but it goes away. You, our world, the pleasure disappears, pleasure disappears, and the desire disappear, and a new desire is born in which we want to receive well. Let's say so, this act of refinement, this is a different method to eliminate this desire and move on to another desire. Is it in the same story, the same issue? The action of refinement means that I don't want to use this desire anymore because I discovered in it an act of that breaks equality between myself and the giver, and the giver here is always the creator, or can it be? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. He speaks here about how a person develops. At first he just wants to receive, and bit by bit through the study the Torah refines him and begins to see that pisto is more correct. How can we see in that development of the group? Also, what does it mean that a group grows, develops not in its quality but quantity, but its inequality? Much as when you have a great number of people think together about the same matter, they adhere to that matter, to that action, the importance, and then this action or the matter at hand, it grows in our eyes. Speak of it, we relate to it, it is manifested in more seriousness or different attitude towards it, or yet anything humanity is accustomed to. Does it also have an external expression? Is only in the feeling inside the tea. There's both external and internal. As you shall let a little child, when plays with a toy later on, you can see the toys no longer interests him, and he moves to something more sophisticated. Maybe what does the group look like? Look like when it becomes more serious, when it raises itself toward more serious, more exalted goals, both in the study and the leadership in each and every state. They say that the Torah is a remedy, the remedy that come to correct the feeling of a baseness, of degradation that is felt as a result of the fact that you receive a gift. Oh, you're nourished by the effort of others, the work of others, and this will also bring you to adhesion with the Creator, to decide to reach equivalence of form through the work in to mitivy. I don't see the connection how a person who is nourished by the work of others, by now slaughtering from the throat or from the back of the neck, he now becomes, he no longer feels degradation because he receives, and it also brings him to Adian. There's no connection. It seems like these actions should just come on's consciousness, on's conscience, how actually bring a person to adhesion. I mean, where is the quality of the Creator versus this lowly person who just the will to receive, taking the advantage of others? The author here explains that we are born in a form of only to receive. We are opposite to the Creator. We can come out of this natural form, the way we relate to reception, and move to the opposite attitude, one of giving. Specifically, how does it take place? Takes place when each one who has people in his groups, he's trying to do to the other a certain act. This action produces in them the opposite form of attitude that one who was receiving among them can be bestowing, and one who was bestowing can now receive. And so when they change the relationships between them, each one exchanges his degree and he moves, transitions to the opposite form. Instead of receiving, he can be bestowing, and has to do with the entire human race. The differences of age or gender, it's like a question that when a person keeps the mitivy, observe the mitivy, whose benefit is he doing it? Is he doing it for his own correction, his own benefit, to pacify this feeling of baseness, or he is performing an action for the benefit of the Creator? As the Creator bestows, he's also in a certain form of bestow. So there is this question about the intention in observing the mitivy, yes, but there's even a question about our connections in this life. If I perform an action for the benefit of the 10, I organize something, a meal or a meeting, should I feel in that in this I correct myself, the fact that I'm actually a receiver, I receive, or doing something for their benefit, and I seemingly close to the account for the efforts they make towards me. What is the correct intention in order to derive the benefit from our efforts? Because we make many efforts, but it's not quite clear what is the precision, how to derive the correct benefit from it. So we have to say here that the action, each and every action, is evaluated according to the Intention, to what extent its intention is to either give or receive that. First, and as much as this intention covers this action more than the action, less than the AC, that's how we evaluate it. It's enough for a person to transition from receiving to giving. Rather important, extremely important, much more important about thinking about the quality of the action, whether it's to give or to receive, and it has nothing to do with what he's actually receiving or giving, but only connected to his desire. What does he wish to express with his intention toward the friend? That's really here we have place for work. Our work is mostly to correct the intention, because according to the intention we are recorded in our actions. Consequently, we move closer to the Creator, or we move far further away from him, from the Creator. Relative to the act of intention, I move closer or farther away. Relative to a person in my intention, I come closer or move further away with my intention, even if it's not related to the Creator. But if I carry out the action, the giving, according to what the Creator wants from me, then I move closer or further out relative to the Creator. Thank you for your answer. Yesterday there was a discussion here, a scrutiny of how to make society better, whether we should create like our spearhead of strong friends who are ADH here together. They keep everything with, they make all the efforts with true devotion, and it's clear to everyone it will come at the expense of other people who won't feel so good. They'll feel on the sidelines, or take care of everyone, that everyone will feel good, maybe at the expense of the quality. This is how I felt this scrutiny that we need to have, and seemingly where do we invest the efforts? Worry about them, MCA. Worry about a small group that will reach up high. And I was trying to think, for whom are we performing this action? Are we doing it in order to improve ourselves and reach with the Creator, or maybe our work is to be like the Creator, who takes care of everyone up to the very last person in the world? He creates a warm place for everyone to adhere to him. Seemingly it's a conflict. When you come to check your intention, you can't even be sure about yourself with which correct intention to move forward, and it seems like we have this conflict with every one of our actions. Yes, so first of all we need to check ourselves relative to the 10 we have, to check it and measure it, and then do it relative to that, and all the rest is in a greater and greater circle until we expand it to include the entire world in it. Can. Thank you very much. I'd like to continue this scrutiny. He writes here that all the matters that are customary in the root, the branch also likes them and derives benefit from them. What does it mean to derive benefit from these matters that are in the root? Well, he wants to be similar to the root, that's his benefit. So how do we derive benefit from the affected? On the one hand, we want to enlarge our society in terms of the depth and width, or on the other hand, yesterday there was this scrutiny, like the friends said, how do we derive the maximal benefit in our work here in the society, and then general in the collective? We have to see first of all what's before us. We have to see what we need to do in relative to whom are we doing iterative to general atmosphere, or toward a certain group, small or large, or toward the Creator, and so on. So fourth has to do with what we have in the intention. There's a friend in the 10 who is not with us most of the time, but I think about him. I think about him all the time, and I would like him to be with us. I ask for him. Does this mean to derive benefit from the path, or should I tell myself, get him on the side and just engage with the people who are here with you on the table every day? What would be the better way to derive benefit? Of course, every day you're with them. What do I do about the friends who are not with me every day? What can you do? But those you are close to, and you're there with them every day, and you meet them daily, and you're doing physical work together, or you study together. That's what's important, because the work is before your eyes. Helps you stay on guard. Can end to do work with the intention. We need first of all to detect that evil is revealed in you. There's a evil quality, bad quality, that is revealed, and then you need to act as you said not to use, not using this desire, diminishing it. That's what I understood. No, from the beginning, from the outset, I don't think about the bad, but only the good, and I relate to my friend in goodness, and I wish on him only good. That's why my action is considered giving, both according to the action and the intention. Okay, exactly. So let's continue this line that you now gave us to reach the right intention and act in it, not just intend, but also implement the act. With the right intention requires effort from a person and the feeling of degradation. That's what I understood before. So the question is, from where does a person receive these forces to act in such a way? The fact that the entire society understands the importance of giving and works on it as much as it can, and a person who appreciates this society, who values the society, he sees these actions the society develops within it, and he's impressed by it. According to what I understand, the time that we're here, I see that there is a reality where that we're seemingly in it, but it's hidden. There's an inner system that is operating here. So the question is whether this force that you are now describing, I want to understand how does it work. If, let's say, I want to perform a certain action and I create the right intention, I even implement. It's not simple. There's business and all the things you describe. Does this give an inner force to all of the system? I mean, the friends will receive the greater force to perform the same action. This what this stow means. First of all, when I think of an action, it's an act of bestow. It raises me in my own eyes, and it raises the society in which I can bestow and reach a degree of bestowal, like the Creator, maybe, who knows. So it's important to me now, the fact that I received this ability. I need to ascribe it to the society, to the system, thanks to which I received the force to act in such a way. To begin with, yes, okay, and in the action that I perform, I should also give back to the system. I should constantly search for how you can give force to the system. These actions give it the force. The fact that I work in the society with such actions and intentions, I certainly change the society with that. Okay, so there's a lot of power in the inner part here, the inner side of it. Now, if I take the topic we discussed before in our 10, we've been working together for many years, for a long time, and I saw that in it time we would try to do all kinds of divisions, external things. It only created separation, and it harmed us. It never worked. Each time we tried to say those who come to the lesson, those who do this or that, it never worked. But actually, when we let go of that and we worked on some kind of well, we realized, at least I realized, that I need to give an example and perform actions, because I saw a friend were studying and I do some work to get closer, to bring them closer. I saw that over time it started generating a change, this inner being. This personal example, it affects the change. It makes people want it, and where a little bit was mixed, even 1 gram of force of control, I saw that it didn't help. It creates a kind of antagonism, and it doesn't bring us closer to the right process. So my question is, where should we focus our efforts, and how we need to focus our efforts on acts the bestow, the extent to which we advertise these actions as desirable, as good within our society, and to hold on to the friends who are trying to do so. In the end, if I look at the work in the 10, let's say, suppose that I see a certain action likes you, a friend, sometimes the friend comes or it doesn't come, things like that. I need to start from the assumption that the corruption is in me, right in my work, not outside. If I ascribe it to something outside, I miss something in my work. But if I see myself responsible for this situation, I mean, is this how I should look at it? We should see the responsibility in us. Yes, okay. Thanks. I wanted to ask about the action, the Torah, to understand this concept. Say that man's ability to acquire a desire to be incorporated with a desire that's outside of him, one that he resists naturally, but his ability to come closer to it as a result of the influence of the environment, that's the action of the Torah. Yes, Man is born a wild as his cult meaning. He's in the quality of reception. He doesn't feel any baseness about it. He develops and he gradually begins to feel best. So it turns out that the best becomes a force, a trigger towards spirituality. So if I understand correctly, I need to feel my be as much as possible so it would awaken me to come out of myself and approach to correction, the method of correction. So what about this process here will awaken me to feel this way, be this bass the fact that you will monitor your actions and you monitor or criticize the actions of the friends, and you will try to see to what extent you in it, to what extent they are in it under the governance of the will to receive. Now thank you can. He writes that the remedy for that was the which we do meaning to receive a reward during our smallness is a form of education, and then when they grows up they teach him to engage in. How do you teach him how he's educated towards it? I don't know. We are not yet teaching, we're actually still learning. How can I be certain about my intention? Because sometimes I think I'm doing an action with the intention for my friends, and ultimately I understand that I've done them for myself. So how can I be certain about my intention? Over time person begins to understand it, he begins to see it. What is the thing that detains, holds a person back from refining himself? The fact that he stops or diminishes the importance of ex. Of 43 is shame, not a deficiency, but rather means for attaining true wholeness. For creation equals creator. Yes, so can you claim that this shame holds in itself the potential for correction, for cleansing? From I heard that the Creator has created in such an attitude of reception that makes us feel sorrow and baseness and giving, and vice versa if we bestow it's the other way around. So how do we establish in us arranging us in the 10 the feeling of baseness and sorrow in reception? We should relate to not to how much do we receive, but in what state do we receive, and according to that to ascribe ourselves to receivers or givers. It's not a matter of quantity that matters here. Real attitude of shame in the 10. How should a person establish it? How do we establish this attitude in the work between us called spiritual shame? It is according to what I do towards the society. There is nothing else. Here either I receive or I give. According to that I measure, I check. Okay, well, last one, the following will be discussed. I want to scrutinize desire and intention in our world. Naturally speaking, person's fuel is desire. Without desire it can do anything, can't live. So we change desires. We want to attain something, then we grow one desire, we repress another. That's how we advance the intention. Hard to scrutinize in that state. It's naturally the intention of reception. Now said to the desire, why not use? A person stops using the desire, has no food to move for the correct desire, and in the will to receive we begin to scrutinize the intention. How is that process getting us to Lishmer? If we are in the will to be still, I don't know, wake up to the morning lesson. I want to attain spirituality, I run to the morning lesson. Is this a will to receive or will to bestow? For the time being it's a will to receive. So how can I constantly strengthen in me that desire and not work on other things of this world where there are other desires? How do I annul the desire? I don't do something forcefully, or maybe I do cancel the desire. We can do it only by being immersed in a greater desire. This desire, if I change my personal desire with the society's desire, yes, does that advance me? Does that bring me to bestow to some extent, or is it still reception? I don't know which desire you narrowed here to. I think it advances me. I want to attend spirituality, that's to receive, but it advances me. How can this desire acquire an intention to bestow? I can do many acts to bestow, but out of the will to receive, without scrutinizing the intention. He once told me that acts are corporality, intentions are spirituality. Yes, so how do I cross this layer from actions to intentions to spirituality? Or is it simply the light? You have to keep going and the light will work on it. That's not enough. That is not Enough when you see in your actions that you are operating with a desire and with an intention to receive should do something in order to change the essence of these actions so that they will be in order to be still is in the desire, or can it come from their intention? It could be in the intention. Hank, you asked already. Yes, how do I check my intention? Try you did something, I mean tell me, give me an example where you kind of court yourself, catch myself, but I'm only in the intention to receive this. There's nothing in me besides that. Okay, so what's the problem? Contradicts what's written, meaning you scrutinized that. This is the opposite to the purpose of creation in order to 100%. Okay. So continue with your work, and it's just that instead of our previous actions now, you should have intention so that you judge yourself according to the intentions, and you turn to the Creator according to the intentions, that He will change your intentions, the intention in order to bestow the intention like the Creator's. That comes from the Creator, so yes, through my request, yes. So all I have to do is to scrutinize the intention. What should a person do with respect of the intention? Can he truly aim himself in order to bestow, or can he only discover that he's opposite to that intention, to intend in order to bestow, to hold on to that intention and to continue in such a way? But does he have such an ability? Because he discovers that he's opposite to that, it's clear to him that he's performing acts of bestow, and actually these are acts of reception. The actions I don't talk about. The actions, the attitude, the intention. The essence of the action is for himself. What else is there besides himself? Okay, that's fine, meaning following each and every action he discovers broken intention. No right can. Yes. Okay, so he corrects it. He should correct it and continues. So when will he be able to aim towards bestow? When his intention will be to bestow, he'll be in bestow. And how to correct his intention? When he discovers that his intention is broken, there is no more to know. Well, the ACT, he writes that after my conscious work I become, I own the action, my action. Owning the action, it doesn't mean rest. It's not greater disparity of form. Why does he say it takes me out of disparity of form? Again, in discovering that by receiving I did a simple act, I received, I didn't know that I'm not an equivalence of form until a certain point where I discovered that I'm entirely the receiver, he's entirely the giver, and then shame appeared and I stopped receiving, I disconnected, disengaged. How the action where I anang kinship, there is another who doesn't receive a good attitude from the king, my friend. He's not in his right place, and the king doesn't care for him the way I think he should care for him. How such an action where I raise him up to the degree of the king is not an active rebellion against the king, how does it bring me to greater equivalence of form? Of course, it doesn't bring you to equivalence with the king, but rather you are opposing the king. So I'm doing the action, as it says after the work that you do, you acquire the action. You're not the owner of the ACT. What kind of action is there? He writes here. Okay, so he writes, how do you know what he wrote about beforehand? Sorry, no, keep going. He says that if I exert after discovering that I'm entirely a receiver and I do certain work, he closes the path of the state, brings me to equivalence of form with him. This connection between us is over, and I adhere to him, the creator upon which action the action is that I raise the creator in practice from the degree of zero to the degree of the creator. How such action I do, it's I the one who raises the other in front of me from the zero state to the state of the creator in your eyes and in my eyes. So how this kind of act is not even greater disparity of form, complete rebellion against the king, that I'm doing everything instead of there's else besides him. So I'm asking according to the article, like I need to come to a state where I acquire the action, and then the shame disappears and becomes honor. So how in action, when I own the action, I take him from the 0 degree of baseness to the degree of the creator, and I seen him the Creator, how such an action is not complete rebellion in the king against the king. I do it not. He, yes, it's opposite. I don't come to equivalence of form with the king. I rebel against him because the creator does it. That's what I'm asking. The action doesn't bring me to equivalence of form of the king. It brings me to rebel against the king. I brought my friend to his position. So what is this action that I do against the king in his own kingship? How can this action invert itself and make him into theirs besides him? No, I don't see on that you'll reach those results. No, that's what I'm saying. So let go of that. So how do I reach equivalence to form the king? You don't get there. What do you mean? It means that you don't get it. The entire process is that there's a state comes that helps me see that I'm opposite the king. I'm opposite, and the king reveals it to me by himself. And they say there's a process called studying that should get me to adhere to him. So in this process, the way I understand, I don't reach equivalence of form of the king. No, you don't reach it. So what brings me to equivalence of form of the king? You need to search in which form you reach equivalence. Isn't the article talking about that? The article speaks about everything. What does it say? How which equivalence of form of the king is not in the Torah? I don't understand. So form with the king, you achieve it by keeping the laws of the Torah, but you didn't discover them yet. Thank you. So is that it? How do we continue? We can read the next headline, or we have selected excerpts on the topic Hanukkah. No? Well, let's read one more excerpt. We continue to two parts to the Torah, between man and the Creator, and between men and men. Yes, even if we see that there are two parts of the Torah, there first commandments between man and the Creator, and the second commandments between man and men, they are both one and the same thing. This means that the practice of them and the desired goal from them are one. It makes no difference if one works for one's friend or for the Creator.